Hello everyone, I'm Bob Laporte, Safety Officer for the City of Syracuse. Today we'll be going over the Workplace Violence presentation. Workplace Violence Protocols, Management Commitment and Employees' Involvement, Risk Evaluation and Determination, Hazard Control, Established Workplace Violence Program, Information and Training, Policies and Procedures for Identified Hazards, Systems to Report Incidents, Record keeping, non-retaliation, and review of the workplace violence will be done annually. This is the risk assessment team. It's made up everybody from DPW to fire to police to water, parks and rec. We have union representation on our committee because you need a labor-involved person while you're doing this workplace violence presentation. Risk factors identified: working in public settings, working late at night or early in the morning, working by yourself or with one other person, public access in the buildings, working with cash, dealing with public access in the buildings and garages. Work practice controls: locks on all doors to personal areas, counters or separations used when dealing with the public, drop safes when dealing with cash, cross-shift information sharing, lights in poorly lit areas, radios and cell phones, know how to call for emergency department-specific, security personnel, and pools. As far as calling for emergencies, obviously 911 is the number one to call. What is workplace violence? Any physical assault or acts of threatening behavior occurring where the public employee performs work-related duties. The workplace is considered wherever you are doing your job, not just one specific location. So if you're in codes and you're in someone's basement, that's your office at the time. If you're in your car, that's your office at the time, and etc. Examples of workplace violence is bullying, intimidation, aggressive or threatening behavior, use of force, physical attacks, unwanted contact, unwilling detaining, coercion, fear or harassment, direct or indirect, threatening oral or written words, gestures or symbols, swearing or shouting out of anger, including hate crime and hate speech. If you hear or witness a threat of violence, report it immediately to your supervisor. The Workplace Violence Prevention Program, including the city's assessments, policies, and procedures, training outline, and incident report, can be located in the folder on SharePoint named Workplace Violence, available from any computer with access to City Network. Go to the departments, then Personnel and Labor Management. Under Shared Documents, go to Workplace Violence. A hard copy in a binder will be kept in each department if you do not have access to a computer. Descriptions of the policies: prohibited behavior, investigations, reporting acts or threats of violence, supervisor's responsibility, training and education, shift change information sharing, cash and deposits, doors, ID badges, bomb threats, domestic disputes and or violence, road rage, violent or intoxicated persons with a weapon. All three of those last ones have happened before to a city employee. Especially domestic disputes. If you have an ex-wife, ex-husband, girlfriend, boyfriend, they show up at work, we need to know what happened and call 911 immediately. What can you do to stop workplace violence? Acknowledge and report it to a supervisor. If physical, contact the police. Again, call 911. Do not participate. Take an active role in maintaining a safe work environment in and out of your department. Follow procedures, protocols, and policies that are in place with the Workplace Violence Prevention Program. Protect yourself and your department. Maintain a safe and secure environment, including doors, windows, and locks. Never hold open, locked, or controlled access doors for others, including restrooms. Be aware of the neighborhood you are working in, including neighbors and strangers. Do not hesitate to share concerns with your crew leader or supervisor. Report any suspicious activity to your immediate supervisor and act appropriately while at work. Protect yourself in the community. Be aware of your surroundings. Know when to back out. Watch for barriers between you and the exit. Be mindful of tunnel vision. Know how to access help in an emergency situation arises, again, 911, and always tell someone where you are going. Sort of important, especially if you work in a small office or even if it's a large office. Let them know if you're going out for lunch, where you're going, so if you're not back in time, they may have a starting point or they may be able to ping your cell phone as well. So that's pretty important to let people know where you are going. Risk factors, conditions or circumstances that increase the likelihood of violence occurring may include increased productivity demands, personality conflicts, emotional disturbance, drug or alcohol use on the job. Identify aggressive behavior. Many violent acts are preceded by aggressive behavior. Alert your crew leader / supervisor at the first sign of a violent behavior. Prohibited items, firearms, ammunition, any other weapon, alcohol, or drugs are definitely prohibited. Suggestions to improvements. Any employee at any time can make suggestions to improve the City of Syracuse Workplace Violence Prevention Program. Employees should reach out to any member of the risk assessment team or the Director of Personnel in writing. Crisis Counseling EAP. Critical Incident Stress Management EAP are available to employees at no cost for any issues or incidents happening on or off duty 24 hours a day. EAP can be contacted 24 hours a day by calling Help People directly at 470-7447. Office hours are Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. Some departments have internal EAP coordinators and crisis counselors available 24 hours a day. This is a good service that the city provides. They pay for it. If you have anything, counseling or anything like that, I urge you to call this number. Report all acts or threats of violence, emergent, non-emergent, citizen against an employee, employee on employee. Supervisor's responsibility for reporting incidents. Ensure employee's safety, document times, dates, and your actions. As for incident report, complete workplace violence incident report, start investigation. Contact the personnel director, safety officer, or risk assessment team depending on the situation. Send out preliminary paperwork to the personnel director within 24 hours. Send all completed paperwork at the conclusion of the investigation. Documentation by a supervisor. Anytime a supervisor witnesses or is made aware of any complaint or concern that does not require the completion of the workplace violence incident form, he or she shall document the date, time, circumstances, or the incident/issue and what action was taken by the supervisor. Also contact department head. This documentation should be maintained by the supervisor. When there is imminent danger. Department-specific procedures, radio, 911, codes or special language, you can use reasonable means to get yourself out of any violent situation. Discuss any questions with your trainer at the completion of the program. Questions that cannot be answered by the trainer or your supervisor shall be referred to the risk assessment team. Scenarios for discussion. Two employees are involved in a verbal confrontation while at work. 2, a citizen threatens or strikes a city employee. 3, an employee is presented with a life-threatening situation in your department or in the community. Review questions. It is required to have labor involved from the beginning when implementing a workplace violence program. That is true. If you hear or witness a threat of violence, it doesn't count unless you have evidence. You can't do anything unless action takes place. Report it immediately. You are not obligated to report. The answer is report it immediately. What can you do to stop workplace violence? Take defense courses, ignore it, report it. The answer is report it. Where can you find any and all information about workplace violence? Binder marked workplace violence, personnel director, or all. That is going to be all. If confronted with an angry verbal citizen, you should remove yourself and call for your supervisor, walk away, defend yourself. The answer is remove yourself and call your supervisor. An employee is threatened or assaulted by a citizen while they are performing their job. How should it be reported? All, supervisor, management, safety officer, call 911. The answer is all. Your workplace is defined as all, your office or department, any city property. The answer is all. Two employees are involved in a loud verbal confrontation. You should restrain them and call for help, walk away, report it to a supervisor. The answer is report it to a supervisor. If a violent incident does occur, employees should know how to inform management/supervisor, assure the injured employees receive prompt medical care, all, or call 911. The answer is all. Recommended parts of the Workplace Violence Prevention Program include management commitment and employee involvement, hazard prevention and control, or all. The answer is all. Items that are prohibited from the company's property are weapons or firearms, drugs or alcohol, or all. The answer is all. Zero tolerance means no form of violence or harassment will be tolerated. This is true. Risk factors are conditions or circumstances that increase the likelihood of an incident occurring. This is true. Thank you for your time. I hope this was informational to everyone. If you need to get a hold of me at any time, I'm usually at City Hall, or you can email me as you see on your screen. Thank you very much.